Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast, and we've got NBA player props here for you to kick off the week with 8 games, as I was corrected by Nate on this slate here tonight in the NBA. Go ahead and like and subscribe to that page. We've also got best bets up for you in another video, as we're bringing you those each and every weekday this season. Also want you to head to thelines.com and use everything we have up on the site right now, including that prop finder tool under the NBA tab to make sure that you're getting the best juice available to you from all of these books that are giving us bets this NBA season. Nate, let's go ahead and get right into your first NBA play prop for tonight.
First time we'll see Victor Wembanyama face Joel Embiid. It should be interesting. I'll take Wemby to stay hot over 21.5 points. And the juice is really appealing, plus 115 for him to hit 2 threes, something he's done in 8 of his last 10 games. And while his minutes have been limited, he has at least a 32% usage rate in all 10 of those games. The last 2, over 40%, in 3 of his last 4, in fact. And he's averaging 26 points in just 25 minutes per game in those spots. I mean, obviously a very talented offensive player, a guy with guard skills who's going to be able to pull Embiid way away from the basket. If the Sixers want to guard him with Embiid, like we've seen them kind of rest Embiid on a corner shooter at a time. Maybe he's on Sohan at points, but like the point is here, like Wemby's not, you don't have to worry about him trying to score down low as a traditional post player against Embiid, who's very good limiting field goal percentage close to the rim. Like he's gonna be able to get his from the perimeter, and that makes you feel better about the threes too. I think. I mean, he has 20 plus in 7 of his last 8 since they kind of shifted him to center here. Played less Zach Collins. He's starting to find a rhythm here in the NBA game. Starting to shoot better from 3. Like in his last 10, he's 34%. His last 4, he's 37% from 3. He's dropped 27 against good teams. I mean, there's a caveat for each of them. I mean, 27 against the Bucks when the Bucks are on a back-to-back. Celtics also 27, but they rested Porzingis. But look, Joel Embiid will rest when he's on the floor. Like that's what he does. He's just like, look, this is not a very challenging matchup for me on the other end. Like we're 14-point favorites at home here. Sixers are going to be able to win the game, whether I shut down Wemby or not. Like I could see him just having a good time, shaking his hand afterwards. Like, good job, young buck. You got your 25 in a pointless, in another loss for you guys. But yeah, I trust him to bring it in this matchup for, whatever reason. That probably on top of that, the fact that he respects Embiid and wants to show out against him.
Yeah, whatever his motivation might be. I mean, he just wants to shoot, honestly, when he's on the floor. So I love the volume, right? For as much as anything. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't do other stuff, but it's a big part of like he's become more efficient. Let's put it that way. He's been shooting this much all season, and I think we both are on of the mindset that he's putting it a bit more together than he has, but he's still just going to keep shooting because this team doesn't have a purpose, right? There's no end goal this season other than like just progress. And the one dude that's going to for sure be here for a while is Wemby. So they're going to make sure he does progress while staying healthy, which is why the minutes stay a little bit low. But like we were talking about, the volume's there. So don't worry about it. It's the usage rate that's just as important as long as he's getting the 25 or so minutes. So let's go to the Kings and Hawks game where you like an over at 237.5. And I don't disagree by any means. And so I'm going to take an over for a Hawks player who is DeJounte Murray. 31.5 points and assists. I'm going to combine that. It's a better number there on BetMGM, but it's minus 130 if you want to take the juice, which I'm down for. So I'm going to take that for a full unit. And, we were talking about this beforehand. It's a really simple explanation. Trey's not in, and DeJounte just steps into the same style of offense as the dude who's now got the ball and the most touches, per game, per possession, dribbling it and just setting everything up. So the usage will be there. He's at a 27% usage rate in the 3 games that he's played without Trey this season, up a bit from like 22% or so, right? 21% on the season without him. 25 points per game, and the 10 assists per game in those 3 as well is what gets you up to like 35 points and assists combined for him. In a game that's going to be up and down. I mean, every single metric that we could talk about for this matchup here is going to be about these two teams getting up and down, shooting a lot of threes. The twos that they shoot are often going to be in transition where they both find themselves in a top 10 rate frequently. That's how often they're trying to get out in the break. I don't think neither of them, the Kings are fine with their half court offense, to be honest. And without Trey, I think there'll be a decent amount of ball movement for Atlanta with DeJounte, controlling that. Like, they both give up a bunch of assists. The Kings especially will allow you to get a ton of assists as they've done all season long. Eighth most assists to point guards, eighth most assists overall, and in their last seven, a bit more than that, even as they're 2-5, and just playing like no defense at home. Just like everybody is getting points against this team. So there's still a ton of guys that DeJounte's going to have open in the corners, where Sacramento is also very vulnerable. Guys can get corner threes against them. So look for maybe some Sadiq Bey props as well to be the recipient of DeJounte's drive and kicks and stuff like that. But I think, yeah, the double-digit assists is a nice bet there for him, and I'd even maybe consider a little double-double for Murray, who's, his assist prop is basically at 8.5. So you might get a little bit of a bump there, maybe like plus 150, plus 160 on these books for him to get the double-double.
Yeah, by the numbers, it certainly makes sense. The Kings in their last 6 are giving up the highest field goal percentage, the second most assists, 31 assists per game, giving up 124 a game, and that's just the last 6 at home. I think I said, where they don't worry as much about shutting down or playing good defense because they score more and they're on extended rest here, which is why we like the over. And if it's going to be over, we're going to need DeJounte to step into that role, show what he can do. Whether he wants to be traded or not, like the league's going to be watching to see, all right, what does DeJounte do when he's not playing off ball all the time with Trae Young in this awkward fit? Like, is he still the same guy that was a triple-double machine when he led the Spurs? So we'll see. So Celtics on a back-to-back here. I'll take Porzingis at a bit of a deflated number because of the back-to-back situation, I believe. Obviously, if he doesn't play, you'll get your stake back, but his props are up. No other Celtics really are. So 25.5 points and rebounds seems low after he dropped 32 in Houston last night, played 33 minutes, and we haven't really seen him much on back-to-backs this season. He got injured quickly when he played a back-to-back against the Pacers. He had 17 and 8 in a gross game at Charlotte way early in the season. He had 21 and 7 in just 28 minutes against Toronto. So, I mean, he might only be around the 30-minute mark here, but probably going to be pretty productive and probably going to want to play in this game. It's his second opportunity at revenge against Dallas. He had 24-9 in 30 minutes of a blowout win, actually, with the Washington Wizards last season when he got his opportunity to play against Dallas, the team that never really used him, told him to sit in the corner while Luka operated. Now he is very much involved in a fantastic 5-out offense where he doesn't even need high usage to get his points. As we saw the last couple games where he came out on fire against Joker, very low usage, still scored a bunch. And then against Houston, same deal, basically. He's now averaging 23.5 and 8 rebounds on 54-40 shooting in 10 against the Western Conference this season. Dallas allows the 6th most points, 4th most threes, and 4th most rebounds to centers. And, I mean, if the Celtics do play him on a back-to-back here, they know at least that they have 2 days off before hosting Miami on Thursday. So not a situation where you have to worry that much about running him into the ground because his health is a big concern. But so far, they've done a great job managing Porzingis.
Yeah, he's been awesome of late, like really, really awesome. And the 25.5 points and rebounds combined is pretty nice. Like the rebounds prop's a little bit high, but the points prop's probably a little bit low. So I think they're both good as a combo there against
It's just 6.5 rebounds. You feel that's high? I mean, it
is for what he's been doing. I guess it's just high compared to like what he's been achieving specifically on the rebound prop, like because he's basically gone under predominantly over the last like 10, 11 games. He's got 8 rebounds once in his last 9 games. So it's more like the team of late has been, I think, what is the iteration of the Celtics that is kind of the best and the one that we'll see moving forward, where it's like a ton of minutes for those starters just playing together that much, right? And in that situation, like the best rebounder on Boston is Jason Tatum, but I'm still fine with everything here for Kristaps and company. Like it's just we've seen less Papa Al too, so yeah, like Kristaps is in there that much, like he's their at least second option on offense, if not like their first a lot right now, because of how hot he's been. Especially they're looking for him, and it's nice to watch. So I'm totally good with Kristaps' bet there. The 25.5 combined is like pretty low in my estimation against such a bad Dallas defense down low. Like if Kristaps wants to go down low, he's going to get everything that he wants down there. So I hope he plays a little bit more down there in this one. And he, doesn't have to run as much around the perimeter. But let me close things out back in that Toronto game that I talked about in best bets, because I do like a bit of an under there, but I like Scotty Barnes to continue diming up. I thought this was going to finally be at 6.5 assists for him, and it's still 5.5 and minus 128 on FanDuel. It's whatever. I'll eat that, but that's fine. He's had all of the assist chances. Like I really think this is just all about the book's still not like thinking of him fully as like a point guard. And don't get me wrong, like Emmanuel is definitely a point guard as well. Emmanuel quickly has had the ball in his hands just as much as Scotty Barnes. I was just talking about this in a recent bet last show where I bet on Barnes assists, and those were at 4.5, which was wonderful. And it was against a Knicks team who's much better at limiting assists than this Memphis team, right? And so the Memphis team that we're going to see has been giving up plenty of assists. The fourth most last 3 games in the league, the sixth most to point guards. Whatever you want to call Scotty, like I said, he's not a small forward. Like he's playing up around the rim. He's not getting paint touches nearly as much as he was. His rebound chances are down. His potential assists are up. Everything is a lot more of like Scotty's got the ball in his hands on the perimeter and he's playing in that like facilitator role, right? So that's what I don't think has been accounted for. Now, Emmanuel Quickly is at the same prop. His is at 5.5 and juiced down even further. But that's really what this offense is at this point, is like if they're in the half court, it's those 2 dudes at the top and everybody else playing off of that in the space that's provided. If you see where everybody else, they are shooting a decent amount of corner threes as well because they're both driving and kicking. And that's really it. It's just those 2 touching the ball predominantly and then finding guys and either shooting or kicking. So I'll keep going with Scotty Barnes assists as long as they keep it at 5.5. I think that's a very friendly number. The other thing real quick, assist percentage in those last 3 games up to about 30% from the 23 it was, which is a really key number here. Both he and Emmanuel have seen their assist percentage jump from like 22 to like 33, 34% in that range. So feeling good about these assists for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's something he's done consistently, right, since Siakam left. That makes sense. Interesting, the rebounds at 7.5, something he hasn't done in these 4 yet. But maybe this is an opportunity to buy low on that because you like under for the game. Memphis probably going to be missing a lot of shots here. So maybe you want to combine them. You can get 14 combined rebounds and assists and say I'm buying low on the rebounds. I expect him to get around 8 here, and then combine the 2 together.
The reason I didn't is because I actually think the books are already jumping up that number. Like if they were being reasonable compared to where his like rebounds have been at, they'd be at 6.5. But I think they ticked it up a notch because first of all, both these teams are horrible at rebounding these days, and especially Memphis. They're both in the bottom 10. So yeah, either way, like rebounds, assists, fine. The assists are so low that I'm good with that as my preferred bet. But that is all the time we have for you in this one. Continue to follow along. We've also got best bets up on top of these play-up props. So until we see you next, happy betting.